Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 36 Double Agents Episode 18 Finals Part 1. We have quite the discussions planned for this video, going through early evaluations for this final. Is Fessy right to eat or not to eat? And Gold Skull flaws mixed in with some of your comments from my Thursday's review and recap. There's a lot to go over, so let's jump into. Now, in this week's episode, we saw the final start, and we only got to see the first two checkpoints. We didn't even see the full checkpoint 2 finish because we left off on CT and Amber holding a sabotage, waiting to give it to a team. So we're still even in the middle of checkpoint 2 as we're going into next week's episode. But there's still a lot to see because even with there not being a ton happening, still a lot happened. I have to give very big congratulations and kudos to CT and Amber for their performances in the first two checkpoints, where they came in first in the runs leading into the first two checkpoints, and then their performances within those checkpoints was pretty flawless as they both won individually in the first checkpoint, and then they destroyed the eating in the second checkpoint. They did absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure being this early in the finals is playing a factor as some teams may be pacing themselves, not Fessy and Casey, who we saw Casey get hurt as she was being pressured by Fessy to keep on running, go faster, go faster. You hate to see anybody get injured in a final or in the season in general, and then possibly being medically DQ'd. I, for one, don't see a way that she is going to be able to continue. If they don't get medically DQ'd, I think they're going to get DQ'd for Fessy not even wanting to eat, which we will get to in the next topic. And then moving on to Leroy and Nany, and being in these finals, I have to say that I am super nervous because of them being consistently in the back of the pack, mainly because of Nany. But I think also what's super enlightening is that in stressful situations, I think that your true personality and your true character comes out in some way. And to me, seeing Leroy, knowing that this is his final season and him wanting to win it so bad, we saw him get emotional in the beginning of these finals before taking off for the first leg, and him saying that he really wants this. He wants this so bad. And then to see him in the finals and know that his partner's in the back of the pack, he doesn't like get angry with Nany. He doesn't like yell at her. Instead, he is like waiting for her and being that supportive competitor for his partner, even in fourth place, running these 2 miles and saying, "Hey, I'm proud of you, Nany. Keep it up, keep it going." And to be so supportive, oh my gosh, like it kind of made me tear up a bit because it was like how supportive of a person, of a friend and competitor and partner he is. It warms my heart, even though it feels like they are going to be in the back of the pack. And yes, they can make up sometimes. And yes, this is very, very early. Like, this is still anybody's game, even though that CT and Amber are pretty much killing it early on in these finals. To me, it's just like, it's just heartwarming to see these two friends. It really warms my heart, even though I really hope that they can pull this thing out. It just seems like a long shot if the first part of this final is any indication of how these finals are going to continue to be run. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this discussion and of this video. We saw in checkpoint 2 that the teams were gonna have to eat, and in the run leading up to the checkpoint 2, Fessy and Casey were in the lead, and she steps wrong and really injures her knee. She says she popped it. It seemed really, really bad, but she was able to still get up and walk to checkpoint 2. Yes, Fessy and Casey are way in the back of the pack now compared to everybody else who seemed to be completely almost done with eating. And then when they open up the box, Fessy is looking at all this disgusting food. He does not want to eat it. And he's sitting there going like, look, I could eat this and we get medically DQ'd because of Casey's injury, or I don't eat this and we still get DQ'd. So in his brain, he's thinking, what is the point? And I can totally understand where Fessy is coming from. He is frustrated about how these finals are going. He's frustrated that his partner has an injury now, that's jeopardizing the whole game at stake, that what they've played for so long. But as an audience member who loves this game and has seen people push past their boundaries, it's like Casey isn't giving up. It's so easy for somebody who has that injury to be like opening up that chest and going, well, screw this, I'm done. Like, I'm injured. I don't think I'm going to be able to go on anyways. So why even eat this? It's so easy for Casey to do that, but she pushes herself. And Fessy, you never know. You never know what could happen. I remember back in Dirty 30 finals, Jordan hitting hard into the earth from the skydiving, hurting his knee really badly, and going on to win the finals. You never know what could happen. Thinking of the final elimination heading into these finals, and Kyle getting his finger injured and him trying to like put his hand behind his back, wanting to keep on going, even though he got decimated in round 1. He knows that if he gets medically DQ'd, he's done for the season, but he hides his hand from the medics, wanting to keep on going, wanting to push himself to possibly get into the finals because he wants to be here so badly. And for Fessy just to be like, well, we're done and over with. To not give any effort is abysmal. I hate it so much to see a competitor just give up in the finals. You've worked so hard for it, and for him to just be like, well, whatever. That just goes to show how far you are from becoming another CT or becoming a challenge champ in general. If you're not even going to eat, you're not even going to try. There's so many other competitors that would rather be where you are. I don't think anybody else, if Casey was paired up with Corey and that happened, if Leroy was paired up with Casey and that happened, if CT was paired up with Casey and that happened, every single person besides Fessy would have dug in. But Fessy being here going like, well, I don't care. Well, what's the point? I honestly am upset and frustrated, and I hate Fessy's attitude. Like, I tried to be like the redeeming qualities. He is a physical competitor, but when it comes down to the brass knuckle tacks of everything, it's like, no, he's not gonna do it. If it's not a hall brawl, if it's not physical, he's gonna sit here and be like, nope, I'm not gonna eat. I'm not even gonna try. What's the point? Why'd you even get to this point? Why did you even make it to the finals to just give up? So frustrating, which leads me into the third topic. So when looking at the gold skull and the red skull twists, they were implemented for a reason, and it was because there was a lot of talk about, in War of the Worlds 2, a lot of players didn't go into the elimination, they made it to the finals, and then they kind of weren't like battle tested or whatever. And I can see where that makes sense. People are slipping by. They're not ready for the finals, but they wiggle through and they get to the finals and they kind of make the finals a little bit more bleh because they don't perform that well. But I thought it was interesting when Cam brought up in the finals that it doesn't matter how many daily challenges you win. That's all out the window when you come to the finals. And everybody knows that the finals are a completely different beast. But if the daily challenges and how many daily challenges you should be thrown out the window, then wouldn't that be the same for the eliminations? Like, if we look at the eliminations, and a lot of people have talked about in my comment section about the lack of variance between all the eliminations, and when looking at the eliminations, all of them are basically physical eliminations. Only really 2 of them had puzzle-based, which made them different in a way. And when we look at it, we have asset destruction between Josh and Michi, who had the slide puzzle at one point, and then also Dead Ringer between Darrell and Devin and CT and Josh, that double elimination where they had the Tanagram. So, when looking at the rest of these eliminations, they all had either physical contact or they were just physical away from physical contact. And what does that prove when you get to the final? Is Dead Ringer between Nani and Gabby going to prove anything in a final when you can't run 3 miles? Is doing 2 hall brawls and winning them going to do anything when you come down to an eating challenge? No. Is there going to be a hall brawl in the elimination? If not, then I don't see the direct correlation between winning a hall brawl elimination and quote unquote proving yourself to make it into the finals because you won a hall brawl against Kyle and him getting injured and being like, oh, well, you won 2 eliminations. You should be even that much more qualified to run these finals than compared to everybody else who only won 1. When he can't even eat anything on the plate. Also thinking about Fessy not eating and him being quote unquote qualified to run the finals because he won 2 hall brawls, I feel like the 2 people he fought against in those hall brawls with Nelson and Kyle, if the roles were reversed and Nelson was in the finals with Casey, Nelson would be giving it 110%. He would be eating everything on that plate. The same with Kyle. So to me, Fessy winning against them in a hall brawl to be quote unquote proven himself to make it into the finals where he's now not wanting to eat is total hogwash. And I think that's where I want to lead this conversation. And I'm totally down with getting rid of the skull twist for good. Now let's read some comments from my Thursday's review and recap, and the first comment comes from Addicted to the Gamble, who says, with 4 teams in the final, I don't think it's right for 3rd place not to get anything at all. I mean, even $50,000 would be great. CT and Amber better give Cam and Corey that extra plate. Nani is a slow runner, and Fessy might get DQ'd for not eating. The only option left is to compromise the puzzle queen. It makes sense that if you're in day 2, you should get something at least. And yeah, on a strategic standpoint, it's better to give it to Cam and Corey because, again, we're only 2 checkpoints in. You never know what could happen, and they are in 2nd place right now. The next comment comes from Eldina, who says, Leroy is the sweetest and kindest man. He supports, encourages, and cheers on every woman he has ever worked with. He is such a class act. The difference between him and someone like Fessy is enormous. Yes. Like I mentioned, Leroy is amazing. He is great. He is a fantastic coach, supporter. The next comment comes from Cammy, who says, I found it funny when Fessy thought Amber was gonna steal him. Like, in no way was she gonna steal you, Fessy. Like, she doesn't want you, bro. List me the reasons why you thought she was gonna steal you, and it can't be because I'm Fessy. Next comment comes from Kakahuate01, who says, great review and recap as always. I really look forward to these. I'm no meteorologist, neither am I, but I thought hurricanes formed over warm bodies of water. You aren't wrong. It was a bit confusing how it seems like there are high in elevation, cold environment, and seemingly not near warm water. Can anyone drop some knowledge on this? You are completely right that hurricanes do form over warm waters, but when taking a look at Iceland's climates and also their storm history on Wikipedia, it looks like they get a lot of remnants from tropical storms or hurricanes, but also they have a thing where they could have the remnants hit into a cyclone and then they start forming even bigger storms to where they get hurricane-like gusts of wind. So it may not be a full-fledged hurricane, but it could be remnants of a hurricane, and it makes the finals sound that much more dangerous and exciting when you say that they're running in through a hurricane instead of they're running through a remnants of a hurricane. The next comment comes from Whitney, who says, Fessy was such a bad sport the whole season, and it's funny that he doesn't want to eat when he says all he wanted to do was to compete. Also, really worried about Nani and Leroy coming out of this empty-handed. Overall, rooting for Cam and Corey. Yeah, this is his shot. This is his performance. This is his time to shine. This is his time to compete. And yeah, he's just no. Red Phoenix says, Fessy low-key wanted Casey to quit so he wouldn't have to eat and he could blame it on her. That's completely right. He's that's why he's waiting so long. First of all, he's nervous and anxious to eat this stuff. You even see him pulling it apart like a kid who doesn't want to eat his broccoli, and he's just playing with it on his plate. But he keeps on looking over at Casey. I'm sure he's looking at producers are we gonna stop this? Can you just say we're medically DQ'd so we don't have to eat this? Come on now. There's even one point where she's just eat, effing eat, and he's just no. He's just staring at her, knowing that, hey, we're probably gonna get medically DQ'd, just say you quit. The next comment comes from Hunter, who says, Fessy, I haven't been able to compete all season. Also, Fessy, I know it's the final, but I don't want to eat this food. 100%. The next comment comes from Jacob, who says, I somewhat understand why Fessy refused to eat, but come on now, it's not over until TJ blows that horn or medically DQs Casey, and if he doesn't realize that, it's a shame. That's exactly right. You don't give up until TJ lets you know. And for him not to just push through and try to compete and try to be you never know is sad. It's shameful. It's to me just indicative of the player that he is and the mindset that he has coming into the game. And I can't respect that. The next comment comes from Beauty, who says, Fessy will just blame their loss on Casey. It'll be another opportunity for him not to take accountability of the part he played, which was excessively pushing her. I really wanted Fessy to lose on his own efforts so that it could humble him, but looks like that won't happen. Yeah, I much rather would have seen him not make it to day 2 off of their performance overall as a team rather than on an injury, because you never want to see anybody get injured and leave the challenge because of an injury, especially in the finals. And it's funny coming off of a solo run final last season and him getting 4th place for the guys, and then for him to come into this season and be like, oh, it's because of my partner, it's because of my partner, it's because of my partner. It's like, okay, well, we've seen you run solo and now we've seen you run with a partner. Is it because you're a rookie in your solo season and that's why you didn't know what was going on, but now you're running it in a partnership, and now because you're doing that, you're not winning? Ugh. And the final comment comes from Unknown Person, who says, I don't know what I loved about this episode the most. The fact that Casey and Fessy literally got karma, the fact that Corey acknowledged how the show montages all the puking and eating challenges, or the final scene where every other team is actually pleading to CT and Amber to not penalize them. Also, can we talk about how Amber yelled at CT to hurry up and he said, don't yell at me like that? That was really, really funny. Heading into checkpoint 1, she's just like, hurry up. And he's like, don't yell at me like that from across the way. Amber was killing those runs. CT and Amber are showing to be a strong duo despite not working together at all during the season. I think this is going to be a great finals coming down to it. We're gonna have to wait to see what's going to happen the rest of the time next week. But that is it for this video. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What'd you think about the early evaluations? What's your early evaluations on the finals so far? Let me know that in the comment section below. Can you see Fessy's case, or are you just disappointed with them? And also, what'd you think about the elimination and my thought about the Gold Skull twist, especially now that we're done with the eliminations and after seeing 2 seasons of the Skulls? Do you think they should be a part of next season, or do you want to see it gone? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me know anything and everything you thought about so far of the finals and this season down in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.